I'm someone who really likes pho, but I get it. It can be expensive, time-consuming, and seem daunting to make it yourself. With all the boiling, skimming, roasting, straining, and turning your kitchen into a bomb with a pressure cooker, it can be a little anxiety-inducing. So to combat all that and the skyrocketing cost of groceries, I'm here to help you make a cheap, easy, and fast pho that will still take you to Flavor Town Massage Parlor in downtown Tastyville, where there's always a happy ending. And with that out of the way, let's get into the ingredients. So there's no getting around it. Beef is a little bit expensive, but this sirloin tip roast here was about $20. And not only did we use it for this recipe, but then we cut it into multiple steaks and we put some away for a later day as well. So the value's there. There's a little bit of a piece of sinew that's running through the middle, but it's really not a big deal. Don't worry too much about that. For this recipe, we want these slices thin. So throw that beef into the freezer for half an hour to an hour before you actually get into it, and use a sharp knife. If you're using a dull knife, you're just never going to be able to get these thin slices. Of course, you could use a meat slicer if you're in that tax bracket, but that's not something that I'm in, so yeah, a knife it is. Now look at this chunk of steak here. Look at that nice little steak that I've cut off. We put the one half away, and we're gonna get about 4 of these big chunkin' steaks out of this. So when we're talking about value, you can see here, each individual steak is not that expensive. Put a little bit of salt on that, and then put it aside. And for this recipe, we're going to be using some ginger, green cardamom, black pepper, star anise, coriander, and cinnamon. If you don't have all of these in full size, actual spices, that's fine. I had half and half, so I'm just going to put them in a mortar and pestle and give them a quick little smash. We all like to smash. Now to start prepping the other ingredients, our limes were 77 cents for one lime, so not that expensive. You're not even going to use the whole thing, but whatever. Cilantro was $1.47. Again, we're only going to be using a small amount of the total that we bought, and we can put the rest in the fridge for another recipe. If you don't like cilantro, just don't use it, that's fine. Our bean sprouts, again, we actually got these ones on sale, so they're even cheaper than cheap. We're going to use 1 onion, which again, a pretty small onion, and we didn't even use the whole thing for a single serving. Quick breakdown of the cost per serving. The spices are really not that much. Onion again, like 45 cents for the whole onion, about 97 cents for the pack of ramen. We're using very little out of the actual fish sauce bottle, and again, like $1 for the actual meat. So all in all, fuck all equals about fuck all, or $2.84 roughly. Yeah, $2.99 sounds better. Now to get to the actual cooking, we're going to use a dry pot, throw our spices in the bottom, and we're going to toast them a little bit just to bring out the flavor a bit. Once that's done, we're going to add a little bit of oil to the bottom and give it a nice swirl, and as soon as that's hot, we're going to throw in our onions. We're not going to cook these super long, it's just enough time to get them to be a little bit aromatic. We're going to throw in our 2 cups of water and our crack packet, and we're just going to stir that up, make sure there's no clumps. At this point, we're going to add our fish sauce, and then probably a little bit more. Just taste as you go and you'll find a perfect amount that you actually want to go with. You'll notice I'm not adding any salt because the crack packet itself for the noodles is going to have more than enough of that. If you want to go with some salt, go for it, but between the fish sauce and the little packet of flavor there, you're not going to need it. Now, something I missed during the ingredient rundown was a little bit of brown sugar. Again, like you're using maybe a teaspoon, it's not a big deal. And the part everybody loves, we take our hard noodle, we move it around vigorously inside until it becomes soft, and then we remove it. Now be careful not to go too far here. The noodles will always cook a little more in the broth later on, so if you take them really far, they're just going to be mush, so take them out while they're still maybe a little al dente. Alright, we're ready to plate. We're going to keep that broth boiling hard on the stove though while we do this. So put your bean sprouts in, your cilantro. We're going to lay that raw beef, yes you heard me, raw beef right across the top. At this point we're going to spoon over our ripping hot broth, and that's actually going to cook this beef. That's part of the reason why we wanted that beef so thinly cut. It makes so that it cooks instantly, or mostly instantly, in that hot broth. Now if you're looking at this thinking it looks a little too rare for your taste, it does actually cook more as it sits in the broth, so there's that. But also you could pre-cook it a little bit before you put it into the soup if you want to, but I do recommend doing it this way because it is unbelievably tender. Now we're going to do a little squeeze of lime and we're ready to mow. Look, you're never going to get the same flavor profile if you did the entire 2-day process of making actual pho broth from scratch, but this is so good for what it is, and especially at a price point that's not going to break the budget at all. It's well worth doing. Don't forget to smash that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. Bye! Oh yeah, hey, remember all this cool stuff that was at the beginning of the episode but never actually was in the recipe, inexplicably? Well, this is the real pho broth that I made the other day for our own dinner. Well, and I'm not going to give you this recipe unless we get some likes. So there. So hit the like button if you actually want the full recipe. Bye!